Okay,
Can everyone hear me?
is just about ready, and it will be set up in just a second, Paul, but yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So I'll start.
So it's not quite ready yet. There we go, and you are all set, Paul.
Okay. So agenda item 1, minutes from, I guess it's June, the June meeting. Do we have any issues with the minutes from June?
No, but just before we go too far, Paul, sorry, I should have mentioned right at the beginning, we should introduce Marcy Bell after we approve the minutes.
Okay. Okay. Can I have a mover for the adoption of the June minutes then?
I'll move.
Okay. Helen, seconder. Okay, we need a seconder who is present at that meeting.
Right. I can't because I wasn't there. So
I'll
second it. Lana.
Lana, okay. Okay, so it'd be resolved that the minutes from the June 15th meeting are approved. So we have a new person to introduce. So I'll pass that back over to you then, Virginia.
Yeah, so Blythe has switched positions at the school board, and Marcy Bell will be joining us moving forward. So I don't know if everybody would like to take a minute just to introduce themselves to Marcy, and welcome aboard, Marcy.
Thank you so much. Looking forward to being part of the committee.
Okay, so we'll introduce, I'll go by the order I see them on the screen. So I'm Paul Beach. I work at the Sault Ste. Marie Innovation Center. Been on Best for Kids since 2006. Helen.
Hi, my name is Helen Kelvelli, and I'm a city ordinary person. I'm not involved in anything. I am going to adult learning, and I really care about what's going on for our children in Sault Ste. Marie.
Okay, Sandra.
Hi, I'm Sandra Hollingsworth. I'm actually a counselor for Ward 1. So I sit on City Council, and I'm new to the committee, but basically all of you do great work, seriously, and our kids should be #1 priority because they need a good, strong foundation to get a good start in life. So welcome.
Okay, Kate.
I'm Kate Perniak. I'm the program manager at the Prince Township Parent-Child Resource Center, and I oversee 3 early on and child and family centers and 1 after-school program.
Okay, Lori. Oh, muted, Lori, I think.
I'm still muted.
There, I can hear you now.
Oh, okay. I'm Lori. I work at the Sault Ste. Marie Innovation Center. I'm the marketing and communications manager here. I'm also a mom of 2, so I have a vested interest in the health and safety and well-being of kids in our community. And given my background in marketing and communications, I decided to join the committee this year to look for any opportunities where maybe we could share the messages about what the Best for Kids committee is doing in the community, and if I can be any assistance to that. So I'm new and welcome.
Okay, Lana.
Hi there, I'm Lana Colletti, and I work with the Children's Aid Society of Algoma. So I supervise 2 programs within that organization. So definitely have a vested interest in children and offering, healthy activities for kids and families. I just joined as well in the new year in January. So that's it.
Okay, Dawn.
I think it's actually Ben, but for whatever reason, it's coming up as John. I believe that
okay.
that's Ben.
I don't have my glasses on, so okay, Ben. Ben.
Oh, we might have lost him there.
Okay, he seems frozen. Okay, well, I'll move on to Jackie. Can't hear you, Jackie.
Sorry.
There we go. There we go.
Jackie Lajoie. I also work at the Innovation Center, and I'm also the district coordinator for Triple P for Algoma. And I've been a member of this committee since 2018.
Okay. So Ben, are you back? Maybe Virginia, you can introduce Ben while he's trying to get back
Sure.
on.
Yeah, he must be having issues. So I'm Virginia McLeod. We haven't had a chance to meet yet, Marcy. I'm the manager of recreation and culture at the city. And Ben Ayton is the supervisor of aquatics, and he also oversees the Best for Kids summer program, which takes place at our 2 outdoor pool locations.
Okay. Do we have any peculiar interests? Okay. So I'd like to have a mover for today's agenda.
Sandra, I can.
Okay, and a seconder.
I'll second.
Okay, Lana. Okay, so we'll move on to the business arising and 4.1 Point to Shane bus pilot. Is this you, Virginia?
Yeah, so I can provide an update on it. So if
Okay.
everybody remembers, a resolution, and for your information, Marcy, a resolution was passed. It came out of discussion at the committee, and Sandra brought it forth to the city council to look at having a bus to Point to Shane in the summertime that would take families out there on the weekend so that they could enjoy the amenities. That pilot moved forward this year. There was 3 departure times throughout the day, and then they would also have 3 times that they were coming back from Point to Shane throughout the course of the day. Some of the numbers on the stats that we had, it kicked off towards the end of June. So there was 47 people that participated in June, 157 in July, and 150 in August. And the program wrapped up on Labor Day, so they haven't compiled the Labor Day stats yet. So it seemed to be well used, and I think appreciated by the families that were taking part in it.
So Virginia, when you say 150, say in August, is that 150 unique people or 150?
150 individuals. So you may have had a family go twice throughout the month of August. It was just 150 people access the service that month.
Okay. Okay, and it ran rain or shine?
Just looking to see. I think that they had it available, but I don't think there was probably much uptick on the rainy days. I don't think that they canceled it unless it was, calling for rain all day, as far as I know, but that would be something I'd have to ask for sure.
And remind me, did you have to book in advance, or you just showed up at a location?
I think you just showed up at one of the locations. There was departures from the main terminal as well as the northern transfer point.
Okay, so it is possible some of the bus trips didn't have anyone on them, hypothetically.
Yeah, hypothetically, I'd have to get
Okay.
them to drill down even further to trying to get those stats on a daily basis, which I'm sure they would have. I just got a summary.
Well, I guess they also probably, if they're about to leave, they had no one on the bus, they wouldn't run the morning one. Okay. Was there feedback from families?
I know that there was like, you know, Nicole had mentioned there was positive feedback from some of the families that were attending, but I don't think the bus drivers were collecting, like, you know, just see if they mentioned it to her that there was, you know, families were happy, they were participating, but.
Okay. And I think in June we talked about, I think it was Sandra's idea of, could we run a few trips out to Hiawatha on some nice days when the leaves are all colored? Is there any chance of that, or is that not something that's possible at this time to organize?
Sandra might have some additional information on what was passed at council with regards to the adventure bus. The adventure bus report is included in your package, which is the transit to Hiawatha component. I believe that it's been referred to the 2020 budget deliberations, but Sandra may have some additional information based on the discussion at council that night.
Thank you, Virginia. Right. So you're right. We were hoping to have it done in the fall. So I spoke with Brent Lamming, who was overseeing this project. And he was saying because of budget constraints, the money went to the pilot project for the summer. And he likes our idea, but it's all because of money. So it went to council, and he's suggesting that it should be done in the winter to Hiawatha, so people can go snowshoeing and so forth. And at that time, he feels that there's a better chance we'll have a budget to do this pilot. So basically it boils down to, unfortunately, there was not enough money to do a pilot in the fall. To be honest with you, I'm disappointed. But I know that in the winter, many people enjoy snowshoeing. So I just hope that it's a positive, impact to our community in January. And then just to add to that, may I ask a question, Chair, to Virginia?
Yes, sure.
Thank you. Virginia, I know that you're excellent at finding grant money. So I'm putting you on the hot seat. If council feels that this pilot that took place in the summer, and hypothetically the pilot that's going to take place in the winter, is it possible that we can write an application for some grant funding? Do you know if there's any grant money out there that could support these ideas as we move forward?
I haven't seen a lot that has come through that way, but it may be worth having a conversation with some of our colleagues at social services, because they're aware of additional grants that tie into social equity and those types of initiatives. So there may be something that might be available through those funding streams. We haven't, most of our stuff is focused on like seniors and parks and, those types of grant writing. So we definitely have to do some more investigating.
Okay. If I may suggest, Chair, is it possible that we can ask Virginia to open that conversation with social services? And the reason is because the pilot's going to take place in January. Brent feels he has some money allocated, but it still has to be approved in November by council budget debate. And I feel that if hypothetically, if Virginia has a conversation with social services and it's a positive conversation, we can use that to our advantage when we debate it in budget in November.
So one thing I'm not sure how it would work for winter at Hiawatha is, where do we get the snowshoes? Because snowshoes aren't cheap.
And if I may say, Chair, I could be wrong, but I believe Brent Lamming had a conversation with Mike Nadeau at Social Services, this Chief Executive Officer. And I believe, and maybe Virginia can confirm this, but with a conversation, a telephone call to Mike Nadeau, but I believe he said he was going to help with that cost because it does help his clients. Maybe we can just clarify that for our next meeting.
Yeah, we can. I can try to follow up with Mike to see if he had anything available, or talk to Brent if Brent had that conversation. So I could follow up on that for next meeting.
Okay. Okay, so it's an action item for Virginia. Okay, is this something I think we want to look at more of? Is it even possible that if you know, you did a presentation to Rotary Club and Rotary Club said that they would pay the cost of the one weekend of bus charter, they can be done without council approval, correct?
Right.
If you know, if you said a bus costs whatever $500 a day, and somebody, one of the local clubs says, "Oh, we'll sponsor a day at Hiawatha," you just have to book the bus.
I believe so. Is that right, Virginia? I believe that is possible.
Yeah, I think that would be fine. I know that they hadn't. I think part of it, and I'd have to take a close look at the report, was also they hadn't been driving up to Hiawatha on a regular basis as part of that route, or I don't know if they had been doing charters up there, but technically you could do a charter rental. It would just be determining what those pickup points are for the charter on the way out, because it'd be similar to a bus route where you'd probably make multiple stops as opposed to just one location.
Okay.
But it would be based on time that you've rented the bus for.
And I personally, Mr. Chair, I like the idea. And if hypothetically, if this works out, just a really good, strong communication plan so that it would be a big success. And maybe we can work with local media on that if it works. And if that happens, I'd be happy to help out whatever I can do.
Okay. You know, I also, besides just Hiawatha, I wonder how many of some of the downtown kids have actually ever been on the, like the Fort Creek or Finn Hill trails, because they're just, you know, just amazing. But I don't know what our uptake is on, you know, from all areas of the community. Okay, so we'll move on to 4.2 Best for Kids Summer Report. And I guess we'll turn that over to Ben.
Hey, so we had a good summer this year, even with all the restrictions and everything that happened. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So we had a lot of kids come through, and Manzo really blew up this year with a lot of kids, and we had to put extra staff out there. But everything was very positive, even with the current restrictions that were on. Kids had a great summer, and it was a pretty decent summer for weather-wise that they were able to participate for the majority of the programs.
Okay, so there is a report attached to the package. So I'm just looking at the attendance. One thing I noticed right away is your attendance didn't seem to drop off as the summer went on. It seems pretty consistent, which is good, because some years it was heavy in July and the first part of August and kind of trailed off, and it looks pretty uniform across the whole summer.
Yeah, it was pretty good. We had a lot of older kids. A lot of the younger kids were at Manzo, younger families, and then Greco seemed to have a lot more towards the teens, which was good for them because they had the ball courts and were able to play a lot more sport.
And how did we do food wise?
food, most of the food came from the Healthy Kids Every Breakfast Counts program. So we had a lot of food come in through there where we handed out basically a lunch to them at the end of the program. Through that, we also did purchase a fair bit of food as well to add to that for snacks and take-home items.
Okay. So this would be on par with attendance-wise and success-wise on par with a non-COVID summer, you think?
Yeah, I would think so, big time.
Okay, so I think that's really positive. Keep the kids active. I have a 15-year-old who's just back at high school and is doing cross-country running, and she's finding it tough going because she hasn't ran at all for a long time. So it's good to keep these kids active as possible. Okay. Yes.
Paul, just a question. So I don't know. One of the things that we identified this summer was we did have to do an increase in the lunches that were being provided at Manzo. One of the challenges we had was actual fridge storage. We were finding that our fridge was too small, so sometimes stuff would be stored here at the NCC and then shuffled back over as needed. So if possible, it may be something for the committee to consider assisting with the purchase of 2 fridges, one for each of the locations. There is $10,984 in the reserve, so just something the committee might consider.
Okay. Did we consider that in a previous year? It rings a bell that we bought something.
Yes, we did. So the fridge that we did have, we needed to replace it, and the committee did buy a fridge. Ben, was that 2 or 3 years ago?
I think it was 3.
Okay, and that fridge is no
Still
longer
there.
useful. It's still there, but you need additional
Space, yeah.
Okay, so we can bring that to an agenda in say Marchish then.
Yeah.
Okay. I would think the group would be in favor of that, and maybe we can get a deal somewhere. Okay, are there any other questions for Ben on the Best for Kids summer program? Maybe Virginia, you can add. I'm just curious how the rest of the Every Breakfast Count went this summer.
It went very well, actually. It was quite smooth with the food deliveries. This year, a different agency took a week of delivering food to all the locations. So it actually worked very, very well. The committees that were participating in it, the different agencies, I think, found it, rewarding and really enjoyed participating and being part of helping deliver the program this summer. I forget, I think I have, Ben, do you remember the exact count on how many meals were served?
I thought it was like around the 10,000.
Yeah. So there was quite a few bags of lunches that went out. So there was 3 deliveries per week, and the lunches were all bagged for each of the kids. So that was part of what was happening with the lack of storage with our fridges, is that the actual bagged lunches took up a fair amount of space in the fridge. So in some cases, we were having to try to take apart the lunch so that we could store it and then re-bag it and distribute it that way, just because we just didn't have enough storage at site. So that's where the extra fridges would really come in handy and help streamline it on our side.
Okay. Did it deplete the funds of the program, or?
I believe there's still funds that are there to help start next year, but the Every Breakfast Counts Committee obviously will continue to do fundraising and look for grants and options to support the food security. I believe they're going to be doing a summary press release at some point so that they can let the community know how the program went. And so we should see something coming out, I would imagine, in the next few weeks or so, kind of giving the community an overview on, you know, the benefits of the program and how many children lunches were distributed.
Okay. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is new business, adventure bus. We touched on this a little bit, but we can expand upon it now.
Pardon me?
I said we touched a little bit on this, but if you want to expand on the adventure bus.
I don't know if I have anything in addition to what we discussed as far as what the timing was and the budget request was,
Okay.
unless Sandra has anything else at this point.
I guess, if I may, Chair, just to summarize the conversation we just had a few minutes ago. So it sounds like we're going to reach out to Rotary to see if they'd be interested in helping with supporting financially a bus in the fall. And if that's the case, I think our next meeting is not until mid of October. So if this does come back where Rotary wants to support it, do we have to vote on it through email? Or because I'm just wondering, it'd be nice to get this running around Thanksgiving or leading up to Thanksgiving or early October, because that's when the fall leaves. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there to the committee, to the group.
I don't think we can do voting by email, Sandra. I don't think that committees are allowed to.
But do we require a vote on this? I mean, if Rotary's sponsoring it, we're endorsing it, but I don't think we need an official vote for it to happen.
And
yeah, I don't. Sorry, go ahead, Sandra.
No, go ahead. Then I'll finish my thought.
Yeah, I don't think we need an official vote. We just would need to try to get onto a Rotary meeting and do a presentation or a request somehow, right? So we'd have to prepare a letter, seeing if they're interested, and then try to secure the bus, and then logistically, we'll just work out all the details for that, right? If they're willing to support it.
And would it be through it for a week, or would it be for like maybe 2 weekends where kids and families are available on the weekend versus a weekday? And what, Mr. Chair, what dates would the committee be interested in trying to make this happen if it's possible? What would make sense? That gives everyone enough time to properly communicate and promote it.
I mean, ideally that if we peak leaves, which I still think we're about 2 weeks away from, I don't know if Thanksgiving weekend makes sense or not. For some families, it might be great. That it might be, something for them to do on, maybe it's the Saturday before Thanksgiving, then the next Saturday or Sunday. I don't know the schedule of Rotary meetings or who we contact there. At Rotary, what I presented before, I kind of went through Rotary North. I went through Joe Ruscio. Also, I see in this council, or in the package to our group, the local immigration partnership have been contacted and are supportive, because I think that's a good opportunity for a lot of new families to the Sioux who may not be aware of things like Hiawatha, and it's a place for them to go. So it's so close to the Sioux, but still so outdoorsy.
Well, I can reach out to Joe Ruscio to see about his group for Rotary, and
I still think there's two Rotaries, right? Rotary North
Yeah.
and Rotary Downtown. I'm not in the Rotary Downtown. The person I dealt with before was Marnie Stone. I don't know if she's still a prominent leader of that group, but she was the one several years ago who organized donating backpacks of school supplies for a number of children in partnership with the DSAB social services. So this may be of interest to her as well. Do you have a relationship with Marnie Stone, Sandra?
I do. I have with Marnie and Joe, so I can send them an
Okay.
email.
Okay.
And just to see if there would be an appetite. And
If they have a meeting before in the next few weeks, we can go and speak for 5 minutes.
Okay. And okay, I will reach out to them today to see when their next meeting is and see if they'd be interested in hearing from us on this idea, if that's okay with the committee.
Virginia, can we find out what the cost of a bus trip is? So at least we know when we're talking to any of these groups. It's even hypothetically possible we as a committee could sponsor one of the trips out of our bank account, but I have no idea whether we're talking $200 or $700.
Yeah, I can reach out to Nicole and try to get some pricing and a couple different kind of options on what that might look like.
Okay, just thinking if we can't, I don't know how we could do this. If we can't get Rotary to sponsor one or both days, and we wanted to do it, we'd have to approve it at this meeting, but we don't know the amount to approve.
Correct.
Unless we just say we if we're interested, we would approve if it's whatever 500 or less or something like that as a backup.
Yes, I'm just looking in the report. The report did, so days for a pilot over the weekend, the cost per day based off of what was included in the report, which is the second last page in your agenda package, showed it at $696 for the one day. That was a departure from the NCC at 9, terminal at 9:15, John Roads at 9:30, Northern Transfer Point at 9:45, arrival at Hiawatha at 10. And then there was three throughout the 2 trips and then a return trip. So.
Okay, and then I guess the risk is, what if it pours rain? If we book it and it pours rain and it doesn't happen, we still have to pay that bill?
It would probably be reduced, but I would imagine that they would have to at least pay the minimum call out for the staff person that they've arranged to do the shift.
Okay.
But I'd have to confirm that with Nicole.
Okay. Does anyone else have thoughts about, do we take a bit of risk and, go to Rotary and say, we as a committee have, paid for an endorsed one trip and we're looking for someone for a second, or do we just hope that maybe Rotary North does one and Rotary Downtown does one? They'll be in the same risk. If it's a terrible day and it's freezing cold and raining, it's not going to go over well, but don't imagine you can wait till 5 or 6 days before and say, yeah, we're going to do it, because you're not going to have enough marketing time for it. So what do we think as a group? Does anyone else think this is a good idea to make a commitment for one of these days, or do we just want to rely on the Rotaries and see what happens? So we have an indecisive group today.
I just have a quick question. Are you thinking of doing this as in next week, October? Or
I think we would need, it would have to be at least 2 weeks away
Yeah,
to
okay.
market appropriately. I mean, this is rushing. Maybe we don't do it this year and see what we can do through Rotary, and if it's successful, we can be one of a few groups that sponsors a day. So I guess I'm not hearing that we want to try that. So I guess we'll rely on Sandra to reach out to the 2 Rotaries and see what we get back. Do we know, is there someone besides Rotary as well? Are Lions Club still interested in things like this?
Paul, I can take a look at the sponsorship budget for the Innovation Center as well and see if there's an opportunity for us to do that as well. It'd have to be approved, but I think that there are lots of other options.
Yeah, I mean, if you could guarantee the weather, I think we'd have a lot of people step forward and just say, I'm sponsoring that. But then you could sponsor something that just is nothing. Although some kids would just enjoy a ride on the bus out to the country. So, even if it's raining, do you still go? And I keep thinking as an adult going out in the rain to Hiawatha, but little kids, they'll run around in the wet leaves and rain and have a ball still. So okay, so we will leave it to Sandra, and Lori's going to check, and we'll go from there.
I just need a
And
confirmation
there's
on the cost, on what the cost would be. So from what I'm hearing, it was roughly 700, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's on that second last page of the attachment to these agenda. Okay, so I guess through email it is fine for Sandra to keep us informed, or Lori to keep us informed of their progress. It's just if it requires a vote, we won't be able to do it, but that's okay. If we evaluate it and we decide it's, even if the first 2 times in Rotary it works out and we still have a nice warm later October, we would have an October meeting where we could try to pull something together. But I think probably, unless we have an exceptional fall, it would be too late.
Okay, I'll keep you posted, all of you. So thank you.
Okay. Okay, do we have any correspondence or notices of information anyone on the group would like to share?
Virginia?
Yes?
Yeah, through you, Chair. I'm not sure if the group is familiar with a discussion we had at council with regards to welcoming new families, welcoming new individuals, and returning families and returning individuals to Sault Ste. Marie, where it was discussed at council that a report will come back to council in October to do a welcoming campaign, and that potentially, this is just potentially, signs may be made, lawn signs to say welcome to Sault Ste. Marie, and you can buy a sign for $5, and the money potentially would go to Best of Kids. This is all just hypothetical. Council briefly talked about it, and a report's coming back in October. So I wasn't sure if the committee was aware of that, where there could be a donation in the future, but it's very hypothetical right now.
No, I don't think the committee was aware of it because I just got the news. So I wasn't aware of that either. So I must have missed that at council.
Okay. Not to put anyone on the spot, but I just thought it's important for the committee to know that, because potentially if this happens, we could be receiving donations for in the future, hypothetically.
Okay. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to discuss or promote?
I could give a bit of an update on a project I've been working at here at the Northern Community Center. So this summer, we have been working really closely with Susan Parr and Carrie Jones with regards to programming taking place at the Second Line Hub. 3 days a week, the kids from the Second Line Hub came to the Northern Community Center. We had crafts, they had access to the games, they had their lunches here. So we've been working on continuing that partnership and expanding it. So last week on the Monday, they walked the kids over from the hub, and we had a pizza dinner here. So really the point was to really try to make the families and the kids feel comfortable and get used to being able to come to the space for homework help, craft activities, time on the turf. So we're continuing to expand that programming, and yeah, so we've done a lot of brainstorming, and so things are moving forward. So again, tonight there's like a hot lunch. Once a week there'll be like a hot meal for the families to participate in, and the kids have an opportunity to actually spend some time playing on the turf, just free play. So yeah, so that's been, so hopefully we'll see how that progresses, but so far it's been great, and the kids really enjoyed spending time here this summer.
Okay, that's awesome. Okay, if there's nothing else, then can I have a mover? So the next meeting is October 19th. A mover to adjourn.
I can move it. It's Sandra.
Sandra, and seconder.
I can second it.
Okay, so that's Kate. Yep. Okay, be it resolved that the committee meeting is now adjourned, and we'll see what happens with Sandra's efforts over the next 2 weeks. Thank you, Sandra, for taking that on.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks. Sandra, before I end the YouTube stream, did you still want to have an opportunity to talk to Helen?